Okay. So the next question, I mean, since all of you mentioned travel, working with the client at the client site a lot, and given the current situation that has all like gone for a toss. So what we want to know is that how has the transition been to this virtual setup? If Prakriti can take that up first for us.
To be honest, it has been super smooth. I have not really felt that much difference, except I think traveling and good food. Uh, but in terms of the kind of course, there has been some transition and there has been some mindset changes in terms of how the companies are now running. We have more alignment meetings because we're not with the client. So those kind of things have increased. But in terms of if you talk only about the transition, it has been super smooth. In terms of the quality of work, I don't think that has been affected because there are certain expectations out of us which we have to meet anyways. So that has been constant. And also, I feel that ultimately it's a problem that you need to solve, right? It's a problem, and the clients are also becoming smart these days that they are adopting to these new ways, and they are really flexible. I think the consulting firms are now really flexible to allow you the kind of work hours you need, right? For example, I can talk to my manager that from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm not available. I have a personal commitment, because working at home sometimes has its own challenges. You might have maybe a repairman coming to your house, or you might have some urgent errand to run, or there are some challenges like that. So in that way, I think the firms have been super helpful in easing out the pressure that we might feel. And also there have been surveys internally in the firms to calculate how much increase in the working hours have been on an average. So now they are trying to regularize that, asking the senior leadership to tone down a little in case they feel that the working hours have increased. And I think that way, if I feel that the firm is also trying to help me out, I also try to put in my 100%, whatever hours I am given, right? So in that way, yes, I don't see much of a challenge in this virtual world. Yes, but client interaction is something that I miss because once you're face to face, that kind of building a connect is easier. I would just give an example. I got onto a project 2 months back, and it took me almost like 3 weeks to gel up with the client, 3 to 4 weeks to gel up with the client. But had I been at the client location, from day one, I would be face to face with them, interacting with them, and I mean, because they would also feel more, they can place their trust in me. So I think that is a major challenge that needs to be tackled going forward. But other than that, I think it's been super cool. Yeah.
What Prakriti laid out, right? I think in terms of transition, it's been fairly smooth. And that's also largely because consulting in some ways is very close to a startup, right? You sort of, you create a small team of, like a SWAT team. They get together at the client side, solve a problem, then they just go back to the organization. Then another SWAT team gets formed, right? So generally also, team sizes vary. But I would say overall the transition has been smooth, at least on the consulting firm side, to sort of adopt to remote working, which is also, I would say, remarkable, because there were times earlier when at least the senior leadership would just travel down only for one day, like to do a particular meeting and then travel back, right? So that I think people have realized that if everybody is in a virtual setup, there are still things that can be done. May not be as smooth, right? Client interactions, building that connect with clients sometimes takes a little longer. I think what specifically has been done at our company is we have also started looking a lot inward to see, what sort of knowledge can we internally develop, given we have been solving so many problems across industries. What is it that we can sort of internally create so that we are not reinventing the wheel, right? What can be in person, say like codified, or what are some of the best practices that we have seen, right? What are some, how can we sort of reflect back and see that when we now go to clients, when we do it with, how can we be more, tech focused? How can we leverage a lot more digital and analytics? How can we leverage a lot more design thinking into it, right? So I think this virtual setup has also given a lot of time to sort of think about that. And as we are getting back into this, working with clients, I think everybody's figuring out, even the clients are learning new ways for interacting. People are having virtual lunches, virtual coffees to sort of just bring out that informal connect. So I think it's a learning curve for all of us, and I'm sure the post pandemic consulting will be different, right? And maybe it sort of brings out just the whole Monday to Friday flight thing, sort of, for example, may not be needed anymore. You could just do by 3 days at the client site and 2 days remote work. It'll be very interesting to see what unfolds.
So just wanted to add to Sanchay's point, because now that the leadership was a little free in terms of, because they had to travel less and everything, as Sanchay rightly pointed out, that internal thinking happened a lot. That is one place I think there has been a lot of change. They are literally looking inside the firm, what's actually happening, where are the processes which were very jumbled up, can be smoothened or automated. Those kind of initiatives have been taken. And also looking into the employees, right? How can we make the firm more close-knit? I think we've had more events in the virtual setting compared to had it been in the pre-COVID times, right? We've had virtual interactions, we've had games, quizzes, all those kind of things, so that the people don't feel left out, and they still are in touch with each other, because that really keeps up the morale high, right? So I think that way the firms have been really good. I mean, they have come out with something really good here.
Cool. So next one is a slightly tricky question to ask, but Divakar, Vijay, maybe you can take this up. What is the one thing which you would probably want to change about consulting?
Change about consulting.
Yeah, definitely, it's a tricky one. I know. So Sanchit definitely mentioned that travel is key and something to look forward to. But for me, it's like it comes with its own advantage as well as downsides. So when you travel a lot of time goes into traveling, especially if you are on a remote project or in places where there's no direct connectivity. So there is a lot of time going in, which is a bit unproductive. And when you are living out of a suitcase Monday to Friday, definitely you don't get to see your family a lot. So that is something which I would say I would change if possible. And like currently, definitely it has completely reversed. You are completely at home, and then you wish that maybe it would have been good that if you got a chance to go out once in a while. But yeah, I think that is something for me which in normal times I would say something which is a bit downside to consulting.
Yep. So if I have like the power to change, I will make consulting a 4-day working job and give 3-day weekends. That's something I really would like to change, but I know it's not going to happen. But that is something which I will.
But
really
Vijay,
change.
then you'll have to do your 5-day job in 4 days. Do you understand that?
I'm fine. I'm fine doing that. Anyways, 4-day we will push. Friday, I'm like going down on the efficiency scale. Rather push for 4 days, have a 3-day weekend. That would be much better. If I have power to change that, I will make that happen. That's one.
I think
Okay,
Google is already doing that.
Yeah, and everyone will take a note of this after we go live. Yeah. Okay. So the last question, we want to know about your most interesting case. So like, if you want to sell consulting to some aspirant sitting and watching this, like, how will you sell it to him or her? By sharing an experience about your most interesting or coolest case. Anyone can go first. Was this also tricky?
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah. So for me, it would be when I work with a global consumer electronics company on defining the growth strategy of their India mobile business. The reason I would say that this was one of the key projects for me is that I got exposure to end all aspects of their business, and we defined how they should what should be their strategy in all of them, starting from what customers they should target, to what product and services portfolio they should have, to what should be their distribution channel, the dealer network, what new businesses they should get into to drive their growth, what should be their organization, like, end to end everything. And then this work had a profound impact on the, growth of the company, and the path it took in future. So, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, go
sorry, go ahead, Vijay. No.
ahead. Okay, cool. I will answer mine. So for me, how I define cool is like if I can see the impact in a very short term, and if I see if I'm doing something, whether the impact is like felt in a broader level. So in that way, what I did for the steel client, which I was saying, we did a due diligence. It was a very critical asset for them, and it was covered throughout that 2 month of due diligence by leading newspapers. Not a front page news, not that important, but yeah, it was covered and it was kept track of what each and every firm is doing, and in some places they will mention what my client is doing. So that sort of impact was felt throughout, and eventually they want that asset. So when you see that thing being covered beyond just client, but beyond by the broader industry, that makes it cool. So I felt that was one of the cooler projects I did.
So my example is completely opposite to that of Vijay's, right? And also, I mean, a lot of coolness, right? Again, on campus with consulting is associated around strategy, right? To say that, we will define the strategy for a particular XYZ company, which is we lay out the vision, etc. And, that's what we are doing. But at least my coolest experience in consulting was a 9 month long project on which I did at various points feel that it's getting repetitive, but it was a merger management project. So, and it was a global merger. So it was an Indian conglomerate acquiring a US company and then setting up a global headquarters in the UK, and with the combined entity having operations across the globe. And we were at the front and center of it, working with all the CXOs, just designing the new organization, right from who will be the CEO to the complete org structure to what should be the culture of this new organization, how should the top team aspiration be set, what would be the revenue synergies and the cost synergies that will come out. And over this 9 months there was so much learning that I got, right, in terms of direct interaction, in terms of realizing how culture, communication, values, all of these things are very, very important, and how, as consultants, we can also add a lot of value into it. Right? So that was very, very fascinating, and like my coolest moment in management consulting so far.
So I think I have an example of a mixture of both. So my client was an oil and gas client. So initially we developed a complete end-to-end digital transformation strategy for them. So after that, they said that we will do the implementation on our own. We're like, cool, do the implementation. But the thing was, they came back to us and they said, ki, now you do the implementation for us. And we could really see that, right, if you build a good client repo, the clients do come back to you, and it's like a proud moment, right, that the client really values the work that you had done, and they have a faith in you that you would be able to deliver certain kind of responsibility that they have placed onto you. So I think during the implementation of those digital initiatives, there was huge learning experience, and I think it was less of an oil and gas. To be honest, I was more involved in the digital front, which I'd never ever experienced before. I was talking to AR vendors, VR vendors, understanding all the latest tech and cool stuff. So I think that was a really good project for me. It was like a year. I think I just got rolled out from that project only 2-3 months back. Yeah.
Cool. I think those were all the questions that we had for you guys. But thank you so much for taking time out for this. And Dia, any parting thoughts that you have, or any of you, if you would like to say something?
My thoughts basically after listening to all of you, I can't wait to get back to consulting myself. So I myself am very excited to get back. So it was really nice.
So this is
Yeah. So
actually
thank you, Medha and Dia.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thank
go
you
ahead.
guys.
I was just saying that this is not replacement enough for, chatting over coffee at Bhukkar, or, meeting up in the mess.
Yeah,
We just wanted to do
yeah,
something for PGP 36 EVM 70 because they are missing out on this experience completely, meeting and catching up with alums. So I really
Yeah.
hope it helps them.
Yeah, no, I
right.
think great initiative and a lot of good thinking around, getting people. I think across the video, we managed to cover different aspects around management consulting in terms of our experiences. So yeah, thank you for, creating this initiative and giving us this opportunity.
Yeah, great initiative, guys, and hopefully this will help guide new people a bit in clearing some of their questions or doubts.